What's up? This is Eric Benét, rolling with my girl Quencie on Studio Q.
Studio Q show, now you know.
Of all of the loves I have known you for, the best is right here in my arms.
Tears. It was amazing. It seems as though India was that age maybe 8-9 years ago.
Right.
She's 20.
20.
You know, because time just like flies. I mean, she's 20 now, but it seems like to me it was like not that long ago. Seeing her hold Lucia and just love her little baby sister was a beautiful emotional moment.
You're my world, you're my light, India.
With a little girl, it was the most difficult and most incredibly rewarding and beautiful job I've ever had in my life. Which I welcome to have over and over again. I mean, you know how some men are, it takes them a while to mature.
Oh yeah, I have brothers.
Yeah. So you know all about that. Well,
absolutely.
It took me even longer. So when I was in my early 20s, I was really like 16. I was just like this kid who all of a sudden, you know, I was dad, which blew me away. Was wonderful, was scary. But then, shortly after I was dad, about a year after I was dad, all of a sudden I was single dad.
Yeah.
I already had, like, you know, the little bit of trepidation and fear of, like, okay, am I going to be a good daddy? Like, when she was born, like, am I going to do the right things for her and be there for her? And but then when her mother passed away, it was that fear just multiplied. Like, she, in that moment, India lost the best thing in her life. I mean, I felt like I was a good dad.
Right.
But India's mother was like the best mother in the world. Tammy was amazing. And so I felt like obviously a huge loss, but also India lost all these things and so much more that now I'm going to have to try to emulate or just be there for her in some way. So there was a lot of fear. There was a lot of being unsure. So there was but by the grace of God, there was so much love. There was my family there the whole time. My mom, my sisters, my brother.
Thank God for them, right?
Yeah, thank God for them, and thank God that I did not have to truly do that by myself. And now I have years of wisdom, years of growth on my own part. I have this 20-year-old daughter who is this well-rounded, talented, beautiful young lady now. And I also now I'm doing it all again. I don't have the fear, but on top of that I have this amazing partner in my wife to do it with. So I mean, life is truly wonderful now.
I've waited for so long. I've waited.
I think really what that comes down to is how you choose to live your life. I think it's like cutting out bad food, cutting out bad habits, and cutting out stressful, drama-filled, negative people out of your life. And you know, that's the fountain of youth. And work out, do something that you love. You know, do something that you love every day. If that's your job, whatever your job is, if you can just throw yourself into it and love it and have loving people around you,
that's what life's all about, right there.
That's what it's about. And it's like, I honestly, like, I'm like, dang, I guess I'm gonna start feeling old when I'm like 70, I guess, because right now,
because you see some 70-year-olds who are
that's true. Like Manuela, my wife's dad. He's like in his upper 70s, and we went to go see last week. We went to go see a play in Toronto last week, and he's this old Italian dude, and we got out of the car. He's like, "Come on, I'll race you to the theater," and he started running. I was like, "Hell no, he's beating me."
Oh my goodness.
Let me put it this way: I go back home.
Oh God.
And I run into people
that you went to high school with,
and I'm like, "You look old. You look geriatric. How are you my age?" And you know, I feel like I honestly feel like I'm about 25.
You fill my lonely days and my nights won't be the same.
You would hear harmony. You would hear Lisa, Audrey, Jenny, and Steve, my older siblings, and George would come over.
Okay.
A lot, and there would be just harmony. You know, anytime like Audrey, it was mainly like Audrey and George. If they heard a song either on a Silvers, you remember the Silvers? Silvers were kind of like the Jacksons. They were, to me, they were like just as dope as the Jacksons. They just didn't, for whatever reason, didn't blow up the same bigness as the Jacksons. But they had like dope harmonies. The Carpenters, we used to love the Carpenters growing up because they had these dope harmonies. We were just all about like harmony and like real arrangements. And so whenever they would hear that in the song, they would break it down. We had that kind of ear where it could be like, you know, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and every now and then they would give me a note. And so for a lot of reasons, like music to me is synonymous to love, you know, because that's how, like my family and I, that's how we kind of communicated with each other. And so, and it's also like when you hear like a lot of my music, I like to do really interesting things with harmonies, and my songs are, you know, tend to be, the arrangements tend to be a little bit more complex than most arrangements, I think, that are on the radio. And so yeah, I just love the craftsmanship of making music and the structure of song, and beautiful harmonies and melodies.
You're the only one I want. You're the only one I need in my life. In my life, babe, you're the only one I love.
Yeah.
It's like its own thing, you know. It in some ways it takes me back, but reversed. Like I was the baby, and I was like being schooled and taught how to like stay on your note, Eric. You know that alto is right there on your note. And so it's like now I'm the one, you know, flipping it. And the thing with India is, I mean, from the moment she was born, I've been singing to her. So. And like my situation, from the moment I was born and put in that house, that Jordan house, I had no choice. I'm going to be making music some kind of way, because that's all I'm hearing is people singing. And that's all India's been hearing her whole life, is me just singing. And now Lucia is the same way. I mean, I'm just singing to her nonstop. I can't wait to see what her voice is going to sound like.
Wow, that's going to be fun.
I got a light on my eyes for the world to see. Thank God the music's back inside of me.
The first song I ever sang?
In front of an audience.
Well, that would be Church. That would be Church. That would be, I was pretty young, and I think I was in the choir, and I think I had my first solo to, I made a vow to the Lord. I think I sang that.
You're gonna be my girl. You're gonna be my girl.
That's a good question. I don't know. I just thought Eric Benét Jordan was too long, and I thought Eric Jordan, like when I first came out, like Michael Jordan was like an Olympic god,
Right.
and I was like, no, I'm not gonna go there. my father had recently passed away, and my father actually gave me the name Benét.
Did he really?
Yeah, and so it's part of it is, you know, almost like an homage to my dad. Yeah, my father was a big fan of Stephen Vincent Benet,
Okay.
the author, which is very unique because I can't find anybody else who's a fan of Stephen Vincent Benet. I thought it was interesting that, you know, one of the things that people like most about me are the words or the lyrics that I write, and my father named me after his favorite writer.
I think you know how much this is killing me, but I love you enough to set you free.
It taught me to be honest with myself. I felt like in a lot of ways I was in that relationship trying to convince myself that everything was great. And because of that dishonesty with myself, it kind of spawned, you know, other dishonesty within the relationship. And I feel like, yeah, probably the most valuable lesson that I learned in that situation was to always be rigorously honest with me. And if I can do that, then other things in my life may not always be perfect, but they will be the truth. I mean, going through so many life experiences and looking back on, okay, let's see, the one common denominator, like whenever I fell on my face, whether it was in personal relationships or whether it was in professional situations, it was when I was dishonest with myself. You know, where I tried to convince myself that everything was okay, or I tried to convince myself that something was cool. Okay, I'll roll with this. I'm not really feeling it, but I'll roll with it. Like whenever you get that feeling of it ain't right, but I'm gonna do it anyway, don't do it.
Hurricane, yeah, it's sometimes the only way to wash away the pain.
So much comes with wisdom, you know, and that is such a beautiful part of it. Just like knowing now that I can live in a way that like if I ain't feeling something, I'm gonna tell you right away. I'm gonna be like, this is not working for me. And I was not that person before.
You had to evolve.
I had to evolve to that. So I mean, and when you are unapologetically that way in your life is so much less stressful, and you just nip things in the bud, and you can go to sleep and sleep good. You can wake up feeling excited for the day because you don't got to be in nothing that you really don't want to. You don't have to wake up into a day that you would rather not be having to deal with this particular person or this particular situation.
It's not your situation, I just need contemplation over you.
That's a very good question. I can't really say that just the fact that music has evolved to something else now frustrates me. A lot of what is called R&B today, I think, is just like brilliant. I think it's well constructed modern music. I just don't think it's fair to put it all in the category of R&B. You know, I thought I was at the, I don't know if I was at the Grammys or the Billboard Awards, and I just thought it's unfair that, you know, like Chris Brown is in the same, or I can't even remember the artist, but it was either Chris Brown or Rihanna or somebody in the same category with Lettucey.
Yeah.
And I was like, all of those artists are dope, right? And they do their thing very well. But that's really not fair because it's not the same kind of music, you know? And it's almost like, okay, just because they're black and they do popular music, it's R&B. But it's really not.
So come and lay it down.
I have the blessing and the benefits of wisdom and years and age, but I feel like physically I'm 25. Those two things together are really, really powerful.